Mostly it's people who have no power or influence who have all the answers. Well, no, I guess I'm wrong. Influencers have all the answers. My diction was imprecise. It's that everyone has opinions, duh. The same as everyone has nose hair. I think everyone does. Doesn't get talked about as much as it should. So, what to do? What to do? Scum. Rising to the top. It's like fermentation, rising and sinking. The pattern of history, decadence and renewal. So, Hamas and their pro-terror protesters, enablers, on campuses and the media, and Israel, once again and again, with its back to the sea. They did not see it coming. Well, if you see the monster coming, you kill it before there's a problem. Doesn't even make the news. So maybe Israel has been doing a fantastic job protecting pregnant women and school children from Hamas. It's just this time. Planning, planning, planning. Eternal vigilance. My take is obvious. Wars, security, vigilance, these are messy, like making sausage. The most necessary step in making sausage is butchering the pig. Same with war. They don't go according to plan. FDR had a plan. That did not work. And Churchill had a plan. But the matter was resolved in the particular by firebombing Dresden and killing 200,000 civilians and nuking Japan twice. My take on plans is that we don't open up the Bible and find all the answers in, say, Psalm 23, to pick a random example. Wisdom is found where it's found and doesn't appear in the index. Plans are necessary, but sometimes the opposition demurs. My take is that fighting terrorism is like fighting crime. Sometimes society is all for giving convicts Wi-Fi and sensual massages, and sometimes it's for solitary confinement for life. It goes in cycles, and neither one is wisdom. Is prison about rehabilitation, about punishment, about warehousing undesirables? Whatever. Same with terrorism. Define it and work out a competent-seeming plan, but understand that one size does not fit all, and that for all the care we might put into definitions, it's really more than one thing. There's that 10% on the bell curve of human aggression that will just be vile, given any excuse. The Islamist terrorist knows that Allah wants violence. They'll bring it to you. These are the holy martyrs and great heroes of the lesser jihad, you know, the one that makes the news. And a heroic lot they are. Takes a real man to knife open pregnant women. Then there are the camp followers, the blackguards, the mixed multitude, like cheering bystanders. In Islam, that's about 89%. Then the 10% monsters, and the 1% decent, enlightened, civilized, courageous, humane Muslims. As for that core Islamist 10%, that minion, I've said it before. Some people simply need to be killed. By the beneficial example of their violent demise, others will be chastened. If we can kill them under color of authority, with a clear path from cause to effect, a primal instinct is addressed in the human psyche, enough to evoke that cowardice necessary under some circumstances to survive. If you make bloody examples of the wolves, the goats will be tame. The Tagalon quasi-Hamas fanboy will reconsider his allegiance to that sect, and he will convert on the spot to something more moderate and human. This is how liberals become conservatives. They get mugged by reality, because there is no race that is genetically fanatical. Given a choice between clearly different outcomes, negative or positive, it's a focuser of the mind. He can blow himself up while murdering Jews, and as a result his father also will be hunted down and killed, or he can live and let live. Maybe I'm not very American in this opinion. Maybe this isn't actually a serious and deeply thought out opinion, but it does seem to be my opinion, for the moment, for purposes of this discussion. I do not want an American empire, but the British Raj in India wiped out the horror of Sati, where a woman was expected to immolate herself, burn herself alive on the funeral pyre of her dead husband. And the British Raj wiped out the Thuggee cult, the thugs, cult of Kali, the Hinduist murder cult that at its height yearly strangled 40,000 innocents, totaling perhaps 2 million murders. A murder cult, like the action wing of Islamism. The Islamist Allah, it seems, is Kali, the death goddess, but with external genitalia. Sati and Thuggee were extreme religious practices, certainly as deeply ingrained and as evil as anti-Semitic Hamas and its several Islamist clones. The price of wiping out monstrosity is that a certain brutality must be employed. You do not talk a demon to death. Informants, pardons, and many public executions wiped out the Thuggee, stranglers for Kali, and persuasion and criminal charges eventually dampened the urge to Sati, widow burning. Maybe such measures could not work today, what with CNN and the New York Times running interference for Hamas and Iran and nameless and unnamed ghouls that support terror. Maybe such measures would not work, but they usually work. All sorts of things have been tried. The one that never works over time is appeasement. A glib but perhaps effective idea has to do, of course, with money, greed, and self-interest. Might work. Oil independence, of course, for us. Stop paying the enemy or the people who enable the enemy. Money, money, money. Sort of a passive and indirect way to deal with terrorists. Gently starve them out of their petrodollars, like boiling a frog slowly. They wake up one morning and find themselves only millionaires, rather than billions. Humility, then, would be humanizing. I'm just making this up, though, very glib, just going with the sound of the words. But that's what plans are. First one thing, and then another, and hardly any of them are the right one. Turns out we know what is wise only after the fact.